So first in, we have Jujuriwa, the German team. Nice entrance into the tunnel. This is a pretty standard dive. It's 2 randoms and 2 blocks. Again, 2 blocks in the AA draw. So these girls should be familiar with these blocks. No slot switches in this one.
What is the draw, Ray, on this round?
It's C4J11.
Right. It's a tricky team name, this one, isn't it?
Jujuriwa. Each time I pronounce it slightly differently.
I've never tried it yet.
Well, try it.
I'm
have a go.
it's Jujuriwa.
That's a good start. I'm sure they won't mind.
It's great that we've got those 2 views now on the live screen too.
It's fantastic. You can see the underneath camera as well to see how clean they are and how static they are in the tunnel when they're turning their points. This is a good round from them. Nice. It's good to see the level on shot from outside of the tunnel as well. You can see how they're closing the blocks. It's a good round from Jujuriwa.
And a great round of applause from the audience watching here at the tunnel. It's a great start for the second day, the final day of the Win Games here in Ampere Brava at Window. Ray, what do you think of that first one?
I thought it was very good. There don't seem to be any nerves. Technically, it's very strong. These girls are getting to know each other and flying. The more and more they fly with each other, the stronger they seem to be getting.
They seem very calm as well when they're outside the tunnel. They keep very still, very calm.
Nice bunch of girls, very friendly as well.
So currently in the lead in the female,
we have women in France. It never fails to amaze me how strong the French flyers actually are, all the way through the spectrum. Very strong. Good entrance into the tunnel. I mean, this generally block 4 will suit some of the smaller teams, so the women team should do okay.
It's a tight block, isn't it?
It's a tight block because you have the point that has to go all the way around the outside. Some teams, in this case, choose to go underneath. They have point going underneath due to the size of the tunnel. Looking good, nice and consistent. And I think in a dive like this with 2 blocks and 2 randoms, that consistency is probably the key. Closing the blocks with less momentum, keeping them on level is probably what you want to see so you can go to the next point. It's a nice dive from women in France. It's a nice shot of turning the block 4 and see how they close it.
Oh, it's such a nice little close as well, wasn't it? Very calm. I've been reaching down for those grips and all.
We go with NFTO into the tunnel.
New lineup?
New lineup, yeah. So Ivana Parker has stepped into the outside centre slots, and Maria Russell and Annie Brentford have changed their slots on the back piece. So they're learning. They're getting to know each other. This is their first competition. They haven't done that much time together. So they're trying to ramp up for the World Meet in Chicago. This is a good start from NFTO. Again, nice and consistent. Taking the time with it at the moment. This competition isn't about speed for them. It's getting to know each other in competition, getting a feel for each other, understanding different sizes and body lengths. This is a new team, as I've said, so. Nice work, though. Good work, NFTO.
We're sat with them at breakfast this morning, and they're very calm and very happy, aren't they? They work well together. Professional skydivers, really.
They're a good bunch of girls. I've known them for years. Obviously, several of them for many, many years. Competed alongside them, competed with them. So no, they're a good bunch of girls.
They were joking this morning about being a new team and being together. That let's hope they don't get a single score.
Yeah, no, single-digit score. They don't want that.
You don't want to be joking about that, girls.
No, not at all.
Well, good morning to you. If you just joined us live, here is Win Games, and it's Window here in Ampere Brava, Spain, with me, Regan Tetlow, and Ray Ahmed. We've had the female 4-way. We're into the Open next.
We have it. It's exciting. I mean, that was, as I said, it's a pretty standard round. It's a working dive as well. It's got 2 blocks in it, and if you with the blocks, if you carry too much momentum, if you go too fast, it can go horribly wrong. So you really want to have nice level blocks, nice calm dive, and it's the first round of day 2, right? So you want to start off well, and the 3 teams that we've just seen have just done that. So it's good. It's good. I'm looking forward to seeing the Open team.
How were the teams yesterday for clean rounds and bus? Was it a messy day yesterday with that, or was it cleaner?
There was a mixture going on. I think the teams that, the scratch teams that have just got together, the lower experienced teams, they suffer from a little bit of nerves and some, first competition, early round nerves, and there's a few busts going on in some of the teams like Barak, Brepak, and Amnon Joey as well. They had probably 5 or 6 busts in their early rounds. And I think some of the more experienced scratch teams, they had a few issues on round 2 and round 5, and it's interesting to see how they got it back together. With that level of experience, you'd expect them to be able to bring it back together. So I'm looking forward to some good fights in the next few rounds.
And in this round, it's round 6, isn't it?
Right.
If you were doing this, which area, which part of the round would you be thinking that's one we've got to watch? That's a kind of a bit of a red flag on this jump.
I think that pretty much all of the rounds you've got to watch for, but I think we have a sequence of triple blockers coming up in some of the later rounds, and that's going to take precision and care, and it's kind of has a different cadence, a different rhythm to it. You've got to make sure that you're closing the blocks with no momentum, moving on. Engineering is going to be key as well to see how you move from point to point. And I think that the different teams are going to take slightly different engineering on some blocks. Some teams have different continuity plans. That means they might turn one way on a block, and it might be easier to get to the next point. So I think everybody's going to be treating it as if their own individual style. They're going to work on what they need to work on as a team, and those scratch teams out there are probably just going to go for it.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that works.
Good stuff. Keep in touch with us on all the social media with the hashtags, of course. Let the games begin, Windows 2016, and More Than a Tunnel. And somebody today is going to win themselves 30 minutes tunnel time. Have a look on the Facebook page of Win Games and Window for that information.
Got Brepak getting ready to get into the tunnel. These are a Spanish team. They started off the early rounds pretty, pretty ropey. I mean, very nervous. Obviously, their first competition. They've just been getting stronger and stronger.
We've been missing the Spanish teams in four-way for a few years, haven't we, Ray? It's good to have a few back.
Oh, there's a resurgence. There's 2 Spanish teams in this competition, which is great to see. Brepak, who to be fair, don't know too much about. I've had a few chats with them, and they've said they've done about 10 hours together, but they're pretty new to the sport, I believe, and so they don't have that wealth of experience that some of the other scratch teams might have behind them. So they're getting used to each other, a feel for each other as well.
It's going to be interesting to see how Spanish tunnel flyers come along now with this tunnel here, a new window opening in Barcelona, and there's a brand new tunnel in Madrid as well, so that's 3 tunnels. It's going to be interesting, eh?
It's going to be fascinating. We're going to see more and more tunnel teams. We're seeing more and more tunnel competitions, and so the breadth of tunnel competitors is just going to get, it's just going to be large, massive, and I think it opens up opportunities to people in Spain that aren't obviously in the middle of Spain, even southern Spain, to go and use these tunnels.
And we're getting more and more teams from worldwide joining in now with all these tunnels popping up. We had a few teams from Singapore at Clash of Champions, Australian team at the World Air Games. It's great that it's really starting to lift the sport again, isn't it?
It is indeed. And it's becoming a different discipline, I think, tunnel flying, which we'll see how that progresses. So in next we have Amnon Joey, who is the Italian team with Joey Jones. So this is Joey Jones, obviously, ex-world champion, and we have a couple of the Italian B team, and a new guy, a guy called Giuseppe, who has 300 jumps and 60 hours of tunnel. And you get the feeling that they're testing out his skill set and how he copes with this type of competition and this type of pressure.
Did you say 60 hours of tunnel?
60 hours of tunnel.
Wow. 60
hours of tunnel, yeah. As I said, it's a new discipline now, tunnel flying.
Yeah, it really is. Interesting to see. We were talking yesterday with Anna. Do we have any people flying this week who are not skydivers? I don't think we have here, but at Clash of Champions we had Mini Maktoum who won it. Obviously they're only 9, 10, 11 years old. They can't fly yet.
That was amazing.
In the skies. But actually they've started doing a little bit of speed flying a little bit on the sand dunes.
Good for them. That was Amnon Joey. Looked pretty clean to me. And a nice block 4s they had in there.
I love these slow motion shots. Really gives you a good feel of the block move, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Next in, we have the Spanish team, Barak. This is the Spanish national team. There's a nice entrance into the tunnel. This is a slightly bigger team, slightly taller, so that block 4, it's nice, slow, deliberate skydiving. You know, making sure that everything closes properly. They move to each point fluidly. The 11s are tricky, huh?
A lot of experience with these guys, based down in Madrid. They've been on the scene for a long time.
Yeah, experienced flyers. But I think just getting to know each other a little bit better in the 4-way space.
And tunnel as well. They're probably not that used to tunnel, really. They've probably not done that much, really.
I mean, I haven't seen them too much. Yeah, obviously with Madrid now being open, and it'll be interesting to see how much they come along.
Any more tunnels for the UK on the cards, Ray, that you're aware of?
I hear there may be 1 or 2 popping up somewhere. I hear talk of barges and other such things in the Thames and weird stuff going on. But no, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think there are plenty of tunnels in the UK, and but there are plenty of tunnels that are easily accessible from the UK as well.
All right, next team.
Jazz Republic. It's the South African team.
The married couple looking after the in-time scoring system. And a couple of Voodoo members, I think.
There is. Colin Rothman's on there for an ex-Voodoo member, and Simba, who's a Jazz Republic. Been on Jazz Republic for a while as a team. These guys are looking good. Their confidence grows with every jump, and these guys are looking for an average in this competition, not really looking for a placing. And they're looking to get a 21 average in the tunnel, and at the moment they're just below that, so we'll see what happens in the next few rounds.
Are they going to Chicago? Is that the idea?
I don't believe so. I believe there's another South African team that's going to Chicago, but we have South African nationals coming up, so who knows? Keep the space open, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I believe they're in competition. They would be in competition with Savola. Oh, a bit of a kerfuffle there on the close of bottom 4, but that's probably out of time.
We were looking at the overnight scores a few moments ago, and it's very tight between 5 or 6 teams, isn't it? There's only 3 or 4 points in there.
It is. It's very tight. And from the first 5 rounds that we had yesterday, you would expect that to be pretty tight. We had a few fast rounds in there with some meltdowns, you could say, from some of the scratch teams. And I think that cost them a few points, and it's made everything very interesting. But it is tight, as you say, both in the top and the bottom half of the table. So we have Lupus S coming in now. These guys have been training together for a while, and I mentioned it in the past. I've trained alongside them. I've done a few tunnel camps together, and they progress very deliberately. They're very good, strong flyers. Recently changed their inside and outside centers. They've swapped around. They wanted a bit of a change, and it's good to see their progression levels.
On a tunnel camp, how much time would you do per day? Like outdoor skydiving, a team would generally do somewhere between 10 and 16 jumps a day. What about in the tunnel, on a tunnel camp? How would a day work?
In the tunnel, well, if you're Lupus S, you can do 2 hours in a day. If you're a normal team, probably about an hour and a half. These guys are machines. They're very good, very strong, and are willing to keep doing. This is why their progression is so great, because they're very deliberate in their flying. As I say, they want to get the technique right in what they do. Mainly under the watchful eye of Pete Allen and a few others at the moment. I think Marco's giving them some help at the moment as well.
Team Lupus. Lupus S, is it the S on the end?
It's Lupus Est from Estonia.
Estonia.
Yes, the Estonian national team.
When were you last training with them?
Probably last year, early on last year.
So on the screen right now, you can see the overnight results in the 2-way dynamic, and we'll be going to that live action later on today with Anna Moxes. And we've got the freestyle as well coming. I'm really looking forward to the freestyle. There's a 4-way female. We've got a couple of the scores from round 6 already on the board.
Just come up. So NFTO had that round so far in Jujuawa by 1 point, and we're waiting for the women in France scores to pop up as well.
If you want to check out these scores when they're not on the live stream, you can look at in-time scoring on their website, and it's all available there. We're going back to the live action in the tunnel right now.
So in the tunnel now, I have Team Symmetra. So this has a former female national champion, Perrine, is in here, with a few other members. I think she's got some of the 8-way team in here. It's a French pickup team with some off-level closers of the 4 there. Nice. This team, they had a bit of a wobble in round 5 yesterday. I say a bit of a wobble. It was probably a little bit of a meltdown that will happen in the middle. Unfortunately, towards the end of the round, they lost quite a few points. But it looks like they're picking up the pace now. It's nice to see how they build. They build the points. There's a fluidity about these teams. I mean, they're a scratch team. They don't fly much together, but you know, when they get together, their experience counts here.
So much action going on in the French camp right now with the children all the way up to the old timers with the 8-way. It's incredible what they're doing over there in France.
No, it's scary. I don't know why we bother continuing with FS, knowing what's going to come out of France soon. And that was Team Symmetra.
Let's have a look at look at this block move.
It's one of those things with block 11. You don't want one piece to get ahead of the other, but they seem to carry it off quite well.
Interesting team here, Mauritania. Came together a few years ago, got a 3-year plan from now with a couple of fantastic skydivers in there, 2 or 3. Well, they're all really good now.
It's great to see. It's great to see Martial and Marco in there as well. I love to watch Martial fly. He's such an active flyer. It's fantastic how he manages to close the momentum. He's very expressive in his flying. Ooh, a bit of levels there on the 4s. As you can see, he's lifting in the tunnel.
It matches his personality, though. He's just like that outside the tunnel, isn't he?
It does, indeed. I like doing big wave with Martial. He's very much like, you know, we're going to war, we should get these points, we should get this sorted out. He's not very negative. He's very, very positive, I should say.
You get yourself to the Flanders Boogie then, get on his group over there.
Might do. I'll put a word in for me, Regan.
You've got it. Mauritania, what a great idea this guy's had. He's in finance, he decided he wanted to be a world champion, he's hired the best and he's going for it.
Yes, indeed. You can see though, like here with the team, that you're just watching it, we'll just hopefully see some speed replays in a moment, how it's important to keep an eye on those blocks when you're turning those pieces. The 4-piece here, the center piece is getting a lot of lift, and it's important that they close on level, because otherwise it puts you off to your next point. The faster you go, the more likely that's going to happen. So next in we have Team Mixed Parasport, doing a good job so far. 2 of the women's national team from France.
Overnight in 3rd place, are they?
I believe they are currently in 3rd place. Yes, that's right. Very strong team. See, watch how they close those 4s on level. They're fast, but they're closing them on level.
Very fast. How many points were they behind Black Cat we got there?
There are 2 points behind them, so there's not much in it. So each round is going to offer something different for each team, and I think each team is probably going to target one particular round where they can probably make the points up. Some of the triple blockers later on will make it hard because it'll be pretty standard. You know, you can't make that many points on it against another team. But you know, if you take some different engineering or something, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, exactly. I like this in-picture live stream we've got now. We can see these 2 views.
It's great. You can see it from underneath as well. It was a good round for Mixed Parasport. A lot of energy and a lot of good closes on both 11s and 4s, which made it easy for them to go into the random points. Oh, a bit tweaked out there, just as I say that.
Yeah. With that below view as well, you can really see how that 3-way piece is moving or holding its ground.
And here we have Satori XL, our UK national team.
How were they overnight? Where were they at?
Satori are currently in 7th place on 121 points, not too far behind Qatar Tigers on 125. A nice entrance into the tunnel. Nice closes on the 4s. Nice closes on the 11s. Looking good. I mean, they had some busts early on in the first few rounds that they weren't expecting, and it's a bit nervous, and again, getting a feel for each other. I mean, Julia's recently, she's had some problem with her wrist, and she's got a 10-month-old baby, and Chloe, who's here.
Yeah.
You know? We reckon Chloe would probably get her into dynamic at some stage, I think.
It's great to see Pete Allen competing. He's just an absolute legend of British skydiving, isn't he?
He is. He's one of my heroes. So yeah, definitely. And him competing again opposite John, which is fantastic for them. Satori XL.
Nice to see the XL name still lasting. Quarter of a century later, we've still got that XL.
When I first started skydiving, XL was like legendary then. And look at them now, it's bringing back the name.
Yeah, I remember when they got the sponsorship with Sebastian XL, that was a big thing for British skydiving.
So next in we have Team Thunder, who are in 5th place on 125 points, tied with Qatar Tigers. It's a nice entrance in on the sea. These guys are a long team, I like to call them. So, you know, they have their own difficulties with blocks, but they have so much experience behind them. especially in tunnel competitions. You can just see from the closes of their fours how there's no level issues in them, and on the 11s as well. It's nice the outside center has a long way out to go out for that J. Oh. On the hop a little bit there, no, but looking good, going at pace. Concentration on Sven's face. This is a good round from Thunder. Team Thunder.
Yeah, only 1 point behind Wimby Lille overnight, weren't they? So it's 3 teams there with 1 point between them.
Yeah, I know, it's very, very tight. And I think Wimby Lille had a little bit of an issue. The leaderboard's coming up now that you can see, and I think Wimby Lille had a little bit of an issue on round 2, a little bit of a meltdown. So they'll be hoping to catch up on some of those points and give them a little bit of a separation from teams like Thunder and Satori.
Just looking there at the VFS 5 points between second and third.
Yeah.
Transfer and Avalon. It's going to be interesting to watch as we go throughout the day.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see the first round that comes up now for the VFS. It's quite a technical draw, and it has a slot switcher. So it'll be interesting to see when that comes up later on.
And at the top of the D2W, we've got the 2 window teams, Flash and Bros. That's going to be, I think it's about 4 or 5 points between them, so we'll see how that pans out too.
It's exciting stuff. We have the women in France that equaled that round with an FTO, both on 20 points, and Jujariwa with 19.
That's the overnight scores we're looking at now from the 4-way here at Wing Games at the Window Championships, the first tunnel event of 2016. It's a great day, beautiful day here in Costa Brava. The sun is shining and the tunnel is getting fired up right now for the next team.
Getting hotter. And next in we should have the Qatar Tigers, I believe. Just having a quick look. Yes, they should be. And these guys are looking so strong now. They have the advantage of size as well. They're quite a small team. So when you watch them turn their blocks, I mean, they've progressively got better and better. And now you watch them in the tunnel, they just look so smooth, so tight as well.
Overnight tied with Thunder on 1-2-5 points. So it's a battle here between these 2 teams.
It is indeed, very tight. As you can see, they're just so much smaller in the tunnel than Thunder, but their block techniques are fantastic. They're flowing through from the J to the 11.
The big gap was on round 1 where Thunder got 26 and Qatar Tigers got 29. That was a 3-point lead.
Thunder got a few busts on that round as well, which they weren't expecting. I think they got 2 or 3 busts. So they hope, oh dear, we had a bit of a meltdown there on the block 11. Hope they get it back together. This will give Thunder a chance to sneak in there, I think, a little bit. And again, unfortunately, haven't quite got the rhythm back on that round. They started off really well though. Qatar Tigers. Tricky sometimes, you know, when you're flying at full pelt in the tunnel and something breaks down, to know what to go back to or where to pick it up from. And you can see that, you know, these guys, as good as they are, there's a little bit of experience that they need to work on, which I'll get in time. Well,
Black Cat here, 2 points away from Mixed Parasport in the lead, 130 to Parasport's 128.
I do like watching Black Cat. Very experienced team, experienced competitors in general. Ooh. Bit of a reach there for the close of 11. It's the important thing about 4-way, even in the tunnel, you know, if you reach for something, you think you're reaching to pick up a grip, but actually you're just driving yourself further and further away from it. And in the heat of battle, you're trying to get something, you want to get through it really quickly, but experience will count. They've plowed through that first early glitch, and they're going very fast now. They're all pretty standard engineering from Black Cat on this one. Black Cat currently in second place.
Black Cat's making their way out of the tunnel. One more team to come. Indoor champions of the world, outdoor champions of the world, and we've got Wimby Lille as well to come as well, but they're going to go first before Hayabusa, aren't they?
That's right,
Just looking at the lineup, yeah, it is. It's Wimby Lille now. Finished off on 1-2-6, 1 point above Thunder and Qatar. Overnight.
I think these guys have got nothing. They're going to go for it in every round. Look at that turn on the 4. Go motoring through right from the off. So they've got a point to prove here. So this is Wimby Lille, so it has Roy Janssen, who's the current Open World Champion, formerly of Hayabusa. They have Julien Deguin and Manu Sarrazin, again, ex-world medalists, and Katie Woods, who formerly competed with Evolution on the front end point slot.
Round 2 was harmful for them. They only got a 16 there.
Yeah, they had a meltdown on round 2 and never really got it back. And I think they probably should have. They lost about 8 points, I believe, on that round. But they are going for it here.
Yeah, they want
really going for it.
They're chasing mixed para sport. They want to try and get that 3rd place.
Yes, that was a fantastic round from Wimby Lille, and I think they want to catch Hayabusa a little bit on a round or 2. I mean, Katie Woods' first words were, "I want to at least beat them on 1 round," and they've done that in round 1. But this is day 2, so who knows? Maybe you want to go for another round today. Next thing we have Hayabusa.
Finished overnight on 149 points.
See what they bring.
19 points in the lead.
Entrance into the tunnel. Ice block 4. Block 11. They're so drilled, Hayabusa. It's like, you know, even if you want to see the glitches, you can't actually see them. Sometimes I have to ask them afterwards, like, you know, did you have a glitch in that round? Because I can't really tell. Very well trained team, obviously. Looking good. Doesn't look quite as fast as Wimby Lille. Hayabusa. Good round.
That's round 6, all through and done. Just looking at the repeat there, looking at these. Slow motion moves. It's great to see that slow motion, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Ray, we're going to go to some video now, some highlights. It's just coming up on 11 a.m. Saturday morning here in Imperial Brava. It's Win Games at Windor, and it's day 2. We've got the results on the screen now. Ray from Formation Escada in the 5th round. We've got a couple of scores there from round 6 on the board already.
We have in the women's category, and women in France and NFTO tied that round for 20 points each, and Jujuwawa were just behind them with 19 points. So I'm wondering if NFTO are now like picking up their speed and getting used to each other again. So try and give the French team a little bit of a run for their money in the next few rounds.
Looking down from the second place there with 130 points, Black Cat, Mixed Paraport 128, Weebier Lille 126, Thunder and Qatar both on 125. It's a tight pack in the middle there, isn't it?
It's a tight pack, definitely. And I think Wimby Lille, just from watching that last round, Wimby Lille should get a little bit back on that on the Mixed Parasport team and Black Cat potentially. So it'd be good to see how those scores change over the next round.
You can keep in touch with all the scores all day long on in-flight scoring. Just Google that. You'll find that beautiful scoring system there. That's available to watch anytime you want. And you can also check it out on the Facebook page of Windoor and of the Win Games as well. I think we're still giving away 30 minutes of tunnel time, aren't we, today, Ray?
We are indeed. And all you have to do is guess which team are going to win each round.
Just go onto the Facebook page there and have a look down. You can see all the results. Also, check out skydivemag.com as well for further analysis throughout the day from Leslie Gale and her team. Still to come today, we've got the freestyle event and we've also got the finals of the dynamic two-way. It's a full-packed day, isn't it, Ray? What about yesterday? It just seemed to go so quickly, didn't it?
I know, it flew past. It's my first ever commentating gig and it just flew. It's a blur. It's like being in the tunnel competing myself. Complete blur.
If you just joined us on the live stream, it's me, Regan Tetlow, and Ray Ahmed. Very good morning to you. We're here in the Red Bull studio on the second floor of the Windoor Win Tunnel. What's going on next?
We should have the VFS coming up soon, and that's exciting. It's 5 teams in the VFS, and we saw from yesterday that the rounds, the first 4 rounds, were pretty standard. They probably favoured all teams, really, to be fair. But SDC Core have come out on top, as they should, the more experienced team from the US of A. And they're currently at the top of the leaderboard with 113 points. Just behind them is Avalon Realfly Sion, which consists of 2 ex-Team for Speed members and two team members of the Avalon VFS team. And just behind them, we have the French national team, Transfert, who are on 101 points. And Transfert is the French VFS team for Chicago in 2016, this year. I keep thinking it's 2015. So yeah, no, it's tight up there at the top. It's tight between 2nd and 3rd place, as we expected. And then it's also tight with the 2 teams below that. So the VFS team from Belgium, Elements, and Vertigo, the Swiss, the other Swiss team, along with Avalon. And very tight.
It's really interesting to watch that development now. There's 3 points in it after the 4 rounds. Let's have a look at what they did there. We had Vertigo with 16 on round 1,
That's right,
and Element out of 17. That was very close. Round 2, 15 for Vertigo, 18 Element, and then round 3, a 20 and 19. Vertigo got a 20, Element got the 19, and then on round 4, 21 points each. So 3 points is quite a gap, but it can still all change, can't it?
It can all change, and it's great to see how tight it actually is. I think the next 4 rounds is going to shape things up a little bit. I think we've got some slot switchers in there and a fast round. I believe the next round is quite fast, and it has a slot switcher in it. So there's potential for high points, a lot of points on the table, but there's potential of losing a lot of those points as well. So it'll be good to see how those teams actually deal with it.
The podium positions, it's looking like SD Core are quite safe there at the top. But with 2nd and 3rd, Avalon and Transfer, well, it's 5 points in it there with a few rounds to go. That could still move, couldn't it?
It could move around, but as I said, with the rounds coming up, you never know. I mean, SDC Core are a very experienced team, but you know, you can have a few issues on one particular round, and you can lose 5 or 6 points. And let's face it, there's not that much in it, so it could all move around again. And I'm quite excited to see what actually happens. And you know, this is probably the competition for VFS at the moment. There aren't too many indoor competitions where VFS is actually an event. And so it's great to see so many teams here, the 5. We were hoping to have a couple more that couldn't make it. But I hope to see VFS in more events, in different tunnel competitions across the globe.
There's only so much time available for people as well, with finances as well. There's so many events in the sky and in tunnels, isn't there, to try and get it all in, to do them all.
No, it is crazy.
Well, we're going back to the action very shortly indeed in the tunnel with the VFS, but we've got the D2W speed results on the screen right now with Windoor teams at the top and the 4-way open. 3 teams have been scored already. Lupus and Barak and Britpack are on the board there with their scores, so we're keeping an eye on that and bringing the results as they get uploaded too. So I was just saying there, with so many competitions and so many tunnel events, Ray, it's impossible to do them all, isn't it?